If you're struggling to lose weight and you know you need to eat less food, move, and workout's going to help, these are the hidden habits that are holding you back, which aren't anything to do with calories, nutrition, or workouts. This is what's stopping you achieve your goals. If you don't know who I am, my name is Tristan Herbert. I'm an online fitness coach who help busy parents lose between 1 and 3 stone in an average of 12 weeks without having to give up their favorite foods, without having to spend hours in the gym. Well, what we do is we do it once, we do it right, and we do it in a sustainable way. So what I'm going to share with you was a Zoom call that I jumped on with my clients. We went through stage 2 of that Forever Fit journey and really the hidden habits that were stopping them. And it gives them the why it's happening, how you can overcome them, and some of the tactics you can do to start improving. So, as I was saying, this is really stage 2 of the Forever Fit journey that I use with my one-to-one clients, and essentially I'm giving you guys a bit of a taster of what this looks like. So last week we talked about breaking the cycle, which is all about that mindset. You got to stay in that positive mindset to be able to really implement any strategy. Without being in that positive mindset, like nothing above that even makes a difference in reality. But once we're in that positive mindset, you believe you can do this. We are sort of telling ourselves now we're gonna be positive, we can do this, it's gonna happen, then implementing the strategy becomes so much easier. But then the next thing that can sort of hold us back is like the fat loss foundations, which are really the fixing the hidden habits that are holding you back. And the sort of really things that we want to focus on is our sleep foundations, which to regulate really stress and gut health. So we want to regulate stress. We want to release the growth hormone. We want to have more energy. We want to have more motivation, and we want to eat up. Well, we want to then eat. We can eat up to like 30% more foods just with sort of poor sleep and poor like stress levels being high, and us just sort of like trying to juggle too much at once. And I'm sure you can all probably understand that when you have a bad night's sleep, which is saying to Maria, obviously, like the other day about going to bed a bit later, you everything feels out of sync and everything feels challenging and you feel more hungry and you're craving more, energy's low. So essentially we've got to fix that habit. We've got to fix that thing that's holding you back. And it really is your sleep. I spent a lot of time and money last year investing in a sleep mastermind course to one, understand my sleep better, but two, to be able to coach clients to better sleep. Because with better sleep, as I just mentioned, like literally, it's like it regulates stress levels. So stress is basically cortisone. Cortisone is basically a hormone that will just make fat loss feel impossible. Like you can be doing everything right, but if you're under a high level of stress, your body goes into a fight or flight mode, which essentially means that it wants to hold on to everything. It wants to protect its organs. Like think back to the primate days where we had to either run away from a tiger or fight a tiger. It goes into that sort of state. And high levels of stress is what causes that, which means that it wants to protect our organs and hold on to fat. Sleep is where we release the growth hormone. So the growth hormone is actually where our body changes. So again, if you're doing all the hard work, but you're not getting good sleep, you're not releasing that growth hormone, which essentially means you're not changing. Growth hormone is like road sweepers going through your body when you're in deep sleep and just removing all the dead cells and replace them with new ones. If you get a block up of dead cells, that's when you get ill. A block up of dead cells is essentially disease and serious illness and stuff like that. Better sleep, more energy, more motivation. As I said, poor sleep, you can eat just over 30% more food. So trying to cram, well, like I said, I did like a 6 week course and more on this, and then did more education after this. And I've actually created my own 2 week course, which I know some clients have been through in the past. Trying to give you sort of the highlights, I guess, in this sort of 5 minute teach in that is going to be a little bit challenging, but I'm going to try and do my best I can. So some of them might be quite just surface level stuff. If you want me to go into any more deeper in them, then please let me know at the end and I'll elaborate more. But really, great sleep starts with what we do in the morning. And that might seem a bit strange because obviously is bedtime, isn't it? But actually, it's what we do in the morning makes a big difference. So the first thing ideally you want to do when you wake up is first, when that alarm goes off, or hopefully naturally you can even wake up, is put your feet on the floor. Like don't snooze, don't snooze, don't snooze. Because what you're doing is when you're snoozing that button every time, when your body clock is ready to wake up and you wake up, your adrenaline and your cortisol levels are high, and it's like it's basically starting the engine up, it's ready to go. And then if you snooze and go back into a sleep, you don't go into sleep and you don't stay awake. You go into this halfway hazy place which means that you just end up feeling like you're a bit hungover, essentially. And actually, by snoozing the button, your body just doesn't know if it's waking up or if it's sleeping. It doesn't know if it's waking up. So it's trying to release adrenaline and cortisol. And it's also trying to release melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. And it just gets a really sort of confused message. And then you just feel more drowsy. So one of the best things you can do is when your body, either when your alarm clock goes off, or ideally naturally, when you naturally wake up, that's when your body is ready to wake up. Then once you wake up, the first thing you want to be doing is drinking at least a litre of water a day, water in the morning, because you're dehydrated. You're dehydrated from breathing, from snoring, from sweating, like all the things we do in bed and stuff like that. So if your first go-to is coffee, which is normal, and it was mine a lot before I did this course, well, caffeine just dehydrates you more. So you're adding dehydration on top of dehydration. Now, obviously, caffeine sends messages to your brain to give you alertness. So you might not feel dehydrated. You might feel like it's the right thing to do, but you're just fighting your natural body's like hormones. And what we want to try and do is your body is a clock. And if we can turn things on and understand our clock throughout the day, you're going to feel in sync. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel more energy. So the first thing we want to do when we wake up is have a litre of water or water with us rather than going for the caffeine. The second thing we want to do, or even at the same time, we want to get some morning light. We want to get some sun hitting our eyes, and that sets our circadian rhythm, which essentially is that body clock that I was talking about. It sets the body clock of of the hormones and everything, basically starting up the engine, everything it needs to do throughout the day to give us great sleep in the evening. So two things you want to do first in the morning is get some water and get some light. You think of anything that grows, like grass, flowers, they need sun and water. So we're the same. Feel good, to have energy, we need sun and water. Now, right now, well, the last 2 days, it's been lovely because we've had the sun out. But actually, in this country, sun is a bit of a gift. So one of the things that you can replace sun with is something called a sad lamp, or like one of those sort of lamps that give you enough lux to generate that same sort of thing. You need to have it again, glasses off, no hat off, like be able to, it needs to be able to hit your eyes. You want to have it reasonably close to you, and you want to have it for probably about 30 minutes. Like I can use it sometimes when I'm just here working and just have it like in my face there. Now, the sun, the natural sun, is going to produce so much more lux that you only probably need about 5, 10 minutes of that. So you could just do in the morning, drinking your water, 5 minutes in the sun, and that would be absolutely plenty to set your circadian rhythm. But once you're up and running, that's when your adrenaline and your cortisol are all in a real high. You've also now hydrated yourself, and you're going to find you're going to have a better energy level. You're going to find yourself you're going to have a better sort of start to the morning. And there's obviously loads of different stages to sleep and obviously the morning routine, but that's really stage one. That's the foundation of what we want to try and do. Once we're up and running, it's okay to have caffeine. Caffeine's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing for actually weight loss. It's a really good thing for energy levels and performance. So it's just about the timings of it. Really, 90 minutes after waking up is a perfect time to have that first coffee. The reason why is because, like I said, adrenaline and cortisol levels have really spiked, but they will start to drop around about 90 minutes or so after waking up. So then having that caffeine is great because it's going to give you another spike and just keep you going through the morning. So nothing wrong with caffeine, but just try and think about the timings of it. Obviously, once you're into the day, sleep pressure, adenosine. This is what we want to try and do. We do this through walking, through workouts, through just general life stresses, work and stuff like that. They're all healthy stresses, but we want to make sure we build sleep pressure so we actually, when we get to bed, we're tired, we're ready to go to bed. Then the flip side of caffeine is that we want to make sure we have a cut-off caffeine time, because if you're having caffeine too close to bed, it will disturb your sleep. Now, a lot of people tell me that I can drink caffeine in the evening and I feel fine. I get to sleep. It's not that it's the getting to sleep problem, it will affect the quality of the sleep. And that's more important than getting, you can have 8 hours in bed and have shit sleep. Or you could have like 6 hours of quality sleep and feel absolutely amazing, amazing next day. So it's right about the quality of sleep. Caffeine has about a half-life of 6 hours. So again, depending on what your bedtime is, depends on what time you want to start thinking of cutting off your caffeine. And also the other thing to understand with caffeine is that it adds up for a day. So if you have, I don't know, a coffee in the morning, which is, I don't know, 10 milligrams of coffee, whatever it is, and then you have another one at 11, which is obviously not 6 hours before the first one's come out your system, you're multiplying that, the 10 that you had, by what you've got on. So you only got 20 milligrams of coffee. And then if you keep adding more coffee, you got 30, 40, 50, 60 milligrams of coffee. And you just, obviously that's then going to double up in the time that it's going to take to actually come back out your system. So again, nothing wrong with caffeine. I use it all the time. Just be careful of one, the timing of it to make sure that you give yourself enough time to go to bed. My rule is that really from 2 p.m. I don't really have any coffee. I'll have after that I'll have either like green tea, like peppermint teas, all that sort of stuff. So still having all decaf teas and that sort of thing. Um, Afternoon slump is something to wear. So again, just make it a little bit interactive here. How many of you either put a one in the chat or unmute or just say yes? Has an afternoon slump. 2, 3 o'clock, you feel tired, you're hungry, you're a little bit peckish and stuff like that. Everything just a little bit hard. Yeah, I'll getting nods. Okay. So that again is your that's natural. That's your body clock. That's your hormones dropping. That's the body temperature dropping. So it's very normal to feel lethargic around about 2, 3 p.m. What do we normally do? We'll go grab a snack, we'll grab a chocolate bar. I'll have a cup of tea and a chocolate bar, a cup of tea and a biscuit. Because like what we're telling our brain? We're telling our brain that we're feeling low, we need energy. Oh, a bit of sugar, that'll give us an energy to keep us going. And you're right, it will do. But unfortunately, anything like that sort of type of food, it will spike your insulin really quickly and drop it really quickly. So you can then sort of start to feel a little bit tired and lethargic again quite soon after. So what happens from your hormones and your basically your body temperature is in the morning it's all spiking because, as I said, it gets you out of bed, and then it's obviously slowly tailing off until about 2, 3 p.m. is when it's at its lowest. So that's when your like cortisone, adrenaline are all quite low, like your body temperature, so you can also feel quite cold at that sort of time is also at its lowest, and that's very normal. So it's just understanding what you could do at that time to help you. So this could be the perfect time to do exercise because actually that's going to give you that. I mean, it's counteractive as much as saying when you're feeling most tired, you want to do exercise. But actually, if you can like get ahead of the game, like I know half one, quarter to two, start feeling about doing some training and exercise with some water and some movement, you're going to feel so much more better than not. You're going to go in that slump. You could also have a power nap. You could have a little sort of like 5 minutes out. You could also go for a walk again, especially the sunlight, things like that. There's some things that you could do just to understand it, and rather than going to the, and again, I'm assuming here we go to the, let's have a biscuit, let's have something to eat because I want to get that spike in energy. Actually, by doing some movement, doing something like that, some water and things like that, you're going to find that you're going to create more energy by doing that way. And then sort of 3, 4, 5, 6, you find that you're starting to get a second wind. You feel good again, like your body's warming up again. Obviously, and that's why, because your body clock is well, your hormones and your body temperature starting to raise again. But we want to then start to dip off our adrenaline and cortisone so we can think about our bedtime routine and start to release melatonin, which is the hormone that helps you go to sleep. And your chronotype really affects what time you do things. So there's two types of chronotypes. There's a morning lark and there's a night owl. Again, there's loads of ways to test and do this. You can do like blood tests. I've got like we'll call it an aura ring, which tracks it. But essentially, the easy way to say it is like when do you have the most energy? Are you a morning person? Do you get up? Do you feel you got energy? Do you feel good? And then when it comes to afternoon and evenings, you start to flag and get a bit tired? Or actually, do you struggle in the mornings and you've got more energy in the afternoon and evening? And whichever one you sort of lean to, depending on what time would be best, it depends on obviously how your hormones and body temperature would be released at the same time. But essentially, they follow the same pattern. But a morning person would obviously go up and down in the morning and tail off in the evening, where a night owl would have the same, but it'd be a bit later on. So sort of like 10, 11, they might see their peaks in their adrenaline and cortisone and then drop back off and then obviously peak back up into maybe like later on, like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Now, there's no wrong or right, and your chronotype is your chronotype. But unfortunately, a lot of us have to fit into society, which means that actually I've got to get up at 6 a.m. for my job. So as much as I'm a night owl and I find I have more energy in the evening, I still got to get up at first thing in the morning to do my job. So sometimes, well, the country the hasn't really evolved to help people with their chronotypes, but understanding it can make a big difference, especially when it comes to exercise. Because when you do your exercise, can make a big difference depending on your chronotype. If we're talking about trying to perform in the workouts and trying to build strength and do our best, the timings can make a big difference. So again, on average, for a morning lark, sometimes the mornings can be really good, and maybe sort of like 2, 3, 4 that sort of time could be a really again strong time for a morning lark. For a night owl, their best sort of time for exercise is more like 5, 6 p.m. in the evening. It's when they feel they've got the most energy and they're really sort of like in they can train hard there. But we've got to be careful when it comes to exercise and sleep because exercising too late can actually your body temperature stays elevated. And the thing is when we actually get to sleep, our body temperature actually needs to reduce for us to get into sleep. So if we're exercising too late and our body temperature is staying rise, and actually we know to get to sleep our body temperature needs to drop, it's just going to make getting sleep so much more harder. So reality is you want to at least try and aim for be 4 to 5 hours, like be the cut-off time for sleep, depending on what time we're going to sleep. Now sometimes doing the exercise is better than not doing it at all. Tristan told me I can't do the exercise past this time, so I won't do it at all. No, I much better to try and do the exercise whenever you can do it, but just be aware of it. That can be affecting our sleep. And then dinner. Our body's a clock. Like if you've got pets, you've got kids, like you know they'll get hungry at a certain time. They don't know how to tell the time, but they'll know they're hungry. And that's because their body's a clock. And ours is the same. So if we can create dinner time to be roughly about the same time most nights, and ideally 3 hours before to go to bed, that means one, you're going to be tuned into your circadian rhythm and eating food when obviously best suits you, which again is going to help with your energy levels and help with how your body like uses that food. But also trying to eat 3 times before you go to 3 hours before you go to bed means that actually your body can then shut off the digestive system. Like there's a myth to say that actually if you eat late at night and you go to bed that you're just going to sit there and they're going to put on weight. No, that's not true. But what it does do is your body's got to digest that food overnight, which then affects your sleep. So try and aim to hit for dinner time roughly about 3 hours before you go to bed, or at least 3 hours before you go to bed, so your digestive system can cut off. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a snack, a small snack in that time, but a main dinner you want to try and keep it at least 3 hours before bed. In your dinner, it's really important to try and get a source of carbohydrates in your dinner, and ideally like a low GI carbohydrate, like a sweet potato, or that. And the reason why is because carbohydrates go through a few different chemical changes, and they eventually turn into melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that helps us get sleep. So if we're skipping our carbs in our evening, we could really be really affecting our sleep. So just have a think about when you think about your meals. And then we're into bedtime routine. So we're what? We're now start talking about the bedtime routine and sleep. So again, our body's a clock, it loves routine. So we want to reverse engineer it. So what time do I need to go to sleep? So if I need to go to sleep at 10, what's the habits I need to put in place to get us to be asleep by 10? So as I mentioned, dinner 3 hours before that. So what's that? 7. Do I maybe need to go and brush my teeth? Do I have a shower before I go to bed? Do I need to organize tomorrow's work? All these sort of things. Put that bedtime routine in place so actually you know by I don't know, let's just say 8:30, 9 o'clock, your sort of alarm goes off or your trigger goes off in your brain to go, right, I now need to get myself in a routine. So actually I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. As part of that routine, reading a book is a really great thing to do. Because again, what we're trying to do is in the morning, we're trying to elevate everything. We're trying to get everything up and running. We're trying to get us fired up for the day. But really, past dinner time, the whole goal is to try and relax, to unwind, to de-stress. So a book can really help that because it just can take you in a different world and things like that. Things to try and avoid are mobile phones. So that blue light, just having that in your face is just gonna keep cortisone and adrenaline high, which are the things that we want shutting down, switching off, and you can't cheat it. You can't go, ah, fuck, I need to go sleep in half an hour. I better put my phone down. Really, you need 60 to 90 minutes reality. What I do is not that it's going off right now because my phone is going crazy. But what I try and do is set a notification on so turn my notifications off at a certain time. So at a certain time, my notifications go off, so I can't receive any messages. That way, I then don't think about my phone, and I can then just focus on TV is absolutely fine. It's longer away. It's a lot slower, but try and avoid the blue light on the phone. And then lastly, part of it is the bedtime routine. Like again, you want to try and think about your bedtime routine to be a nice, relaxing, calming environment. I use a spa as a great example. You want to think about your senses. So it needs to be dark. Low light, like the like warm lights rather than those white bright lights is perfect settings. It needs to be cool, like I mentioned earlier on, so you can't have your bedroom too hot because your body temperature needs to reduce in temperature. Especially for females going through menopause as well. That's the one thing that makes it really hard to sleep because your body temperature is naturally now elevated more. So you need to make sure that bedroom environment is cool enough for you to get some sleep. So again, it's part of the bedtime routine. It could be think about, do I need to open up a window? Do I need to make sure the setting of the lights are okay? All these things that can help. So that's lighting, and that's obviously the temperature. Things like smells. So lavender sprays or pillow sprays. I actually have a lavender pillow spray which I spray on my pillow. Again, just the senses of calming, relaxing. Your bed sheets and the touch and your pajamas. We spend more time on our bed than a lot of other things. So like, what's the quality of the mattress? Like, is that one thing we've invested in to actually make sure we get a good night's sleep? Um, and then we've basically got, so we've got sound, we got smell, we got touch, we got obviously the temperature, and we're just, and the last thing I think is sound. Is I actually put 10 minutes of Alexa on, play some smart music. So I've got that again, that soothing music, and that all just helps me get into a nice drifting deep sleep. So, as I said, quite a lot there. Hopefully, I've covered it in enough detail to give you an idea. If I say if you want more, then I can talk about this all day. Like I said, I did spend a lot of time and money going through this in a lot of detail to help people. So there's more to it though. So that's obviously gives you an idea about it. Now, really, when it gets to sleep, you got different elements of it. First thing is the getting to sleep. Like if you find you struggle to get to sleep, the things that you could focus on is the bedtime routine, definitely the bedtime routine, the bedroom environment. The idea is to get to really to for you when you're ready to sleep, you want to be thinking 15 to probably 20 minutes as a good bedtime, like head hits pillow, I'm done, I'm asleep and stuff like that. That's probably sort of the number you want to think about. If it's more than that, think about your bedtime routine. Like, is it relaxing? Is it calming? Is it feel like it's a nice place to go and sleep? Think about what time have I got off my phone. Like, was I on my phone 5 minutes before I went to bed? And that way, like my adrenaline and cortisol levels were just really high and I couldn't switch off. Think about your dinner time. Think about your exercise time. They're probably the main, and think about your caffeine. They're probably the main things to think about getting into a sleep quickly. Once you are asleep, there's two phases. You got deep sleep. This is the first phase. This is really from the time you get to sleep to about 2 a.m. So if you are a night owl or if you are someone that goes to bed later and later and later, the thing that you're affecting is your deep sleep. And that's the major part we want to really try and focus on because deep sleep is what releases the growth hormone. This is the part I said about your little road sweepers going through your brain, going through your body, and just removing all the dead toxins and regenerate new ones. It's so important for. I mean, bodybuilders take testosterone for build muscle, and this is essentially the growth hormone, which is a version of that, but it's a natural version of things that it's what's going to change your body shape. It's what's going to build muscle. It's what's going to recover from exercise. It's what's going to reduce that stubborn fat down. So we've got to make sure we're getting deep sleep. So it's basically it's from when you go to bed, roughly about 10 o'clock ish, to about 2 a.m. Okay. So if you're going to bed later and later and later, you're affecting deep sleep. If you're a night owl, it shifts a little bit, but affects deep sleep. If you struggle to get to sleep, you're affecting deep sleep. The second phase of it is REM. So again, another question is again without really answering, but I reckon probably 2, 3 a.m., 3 a.m. Most of you wake up, need to go to the toilet, need to yeah. So again, I'm getting nods. Why? It's natural, it's normal. Your body's just gone through that process of deep sleep and it needs to flush it all out. So essentially it's quite normal to need to go to the toilet that time. The challenge, what most people do is they wake up that time, they then turn the lights on, so they're raising their cortisol levels, things like that. They're on cold floors, so like if you've got slippers stuff like that, put them on. They're obviously yeah, they might even get on their phone and sort of have a look at what I've missed at that time, and you just like, again taking yourself out of melatonin, relaxing, calming, deep sleep to high alert and ready to start the day. So if that happens, it's normal. Go to the toilet, of course. Can you get some low lightings or just keep lights like real dark as possible? Please don't injure yourself and fall over or anything, but like keep them still really low light as possible. Have you got some slippers or something you can put on just so your feet aren't touching cold floors and again help you with that REM. Now, REM part of sleep is where our brain is the most active. We're more active in REM sleep than I am right now talking to you guys, which again seems crazy. It's a massive computer processing everything you've done throughout the day. So if you are struggling to sleep in REM, it's normally because you've got unresolved issues from like you're wandering thoughts. So if you're really stressed at work, if you've got things on your mind, if you've got things you need to do, things you're planning, all that sort of stuff, your REM will get disrupted unless you put something in place to help protect REM. So the best thing you can do for that as part of that bedtime routine is think about journalizing, think about a to-do list, think about taking thoughts out your head and putting it on paper. It's not dealt with, but at least when your brain is processing all this and it gets to that part of, oh, I've got this party plan on this weekend, it can go, right, I know that's fine, we've got that on paper, we're gonna sort that out tomorrow. And then it will just help you process that rather than going, oh shit, there's a party I got planned on Saturday and I've done nothing about it. And all of a sudden you're awake, thinking about it, and then you can't go back to sleep. Your sleep's affected, you're back to square one, which we started at the start. So think about the things that we can do to REM, and normally it's like it's the wandering thought. So what can we do to help that? And then you got wait, like once we've got that in place, like how do we track sleep and how do we improve sleep? So they're like most smartwatches these days are pretty good at tracking sleep. I wear an Oura Ring, which is one of my opinion one of the best ones out there. But if you don't have anything to track your sleep, so for example, Apple Watch, good watch, but actually pretty shit battery life. So 9 times 10 people don't wear overnight. The things that you can just do in the morning is just ask yourself a few questions like what time to go to bed? You can't obviously know this for 100%. Did I feel like I fell asleep pretty quickly, or was I up waiting for ages? Did I wake up at 2, 3 a.m. and need to go to the toilet? And if I did I get back to sleep quite quickly? Did I wake up and have any disturbed sleep through REM? How do I feel in the morning? And really, like those questions, especially how I feel in the morning, is actually so much more important than any tracker anyway. Because it doesn't matter if you get the perfect sleep. If you wake up feeling shit in the morning, then something's not quite right. So if you can track it, perfect. I'll talk you through what we do in a minute. If you can't track it, then think about just a few things like the things I've just gone. Can I get to sleep? Uh, did I wake up at 3? Was I woken up through REM? How do I feel in the morning? Just keep it really simple. If you are tracking your sleep, then brilliant. Like we track steps, workouts, food, but no one really tracks sleep. And again, this is why I think my coaching is a little bit unique from anyone else because actually sleep is a 12-hour part of the day, which actually makes a big difference the next 12 hours. So if you're not getting this bit right, the rest of it's not really good. So what you can track. If some every watch is slightly different, but things you want to track, I say, is firstly it's like the getting to sleep part, legacy, I think they call it sometimes. Next bit is deep sleep. So you're going to get sleep cycles. It's going to go awake, was it awake, light, deep, REM, deep, light, awake, and it's a 90-minute cycle. Don't worry about awake, don't worry about light. Everyone goes through that, okay? Track deep sleep, and all you need to do is improve from what you do. I can't give you a number because it's you. Like I can't say you need to get an hour's deep sleep because it depends on what you get in the moment. But track what you're currently doing, and the goal is to try and improve it. So if you are getting an hour, perfect. Can we get an hour and 10? Can we get an hour and 20? You're probably going to, an hour is actually a pretty good number for majority of people as well. So if you're a little bit under an hour, then I'd probably recommend we try and need to get up to an hour. If you're above an hour already, perfect. Let's see if we can improve that. But like I said, everyone's different. The REM, again, same sort of thing. It's you versus you. So I can't give you really a number or anything, but just track where you currently are and let's see if we can try and improve it. And then, let's say the most important thing is how do you feel in the morning? Two things that are really important. Again, this is all due to sleep and then it's tracked overnight. And again, majority of Fitbits, smartwatches, they're pretty accurate at tracking these pretty good. Is your heart rate variation and your resting heart rate. So these are two indications of of how your nervous system is coping. So if you're under a high level of stress and you are not stopping and you're training hard and you're all these sort of things, then what's going to happen is your HRV, which is an indication of fitness and health, we want it to go up. Ideally, we want it to get healthier, we want it to improve, etc., etc. If it's if you see it go up and then it's crashing down, that's a sign that your body is under a lot of stress. Okay, if you don't make a change, you're going to get ill. You're going to have to stop. And then the opposite is your resting heart rate. So at rest, when you're going through those sleep patterns, we want your resting heart rate to be as low as possible, to be low, slow, resting. Okay. If it elevates, again, that's a sign that you're under stress, under pressure, and change needs to be made. Now, again, with data, you're going to get spikes. So don't panic if you get one spike up and then it goes back to normal. But obviously, if you can see a trend where it's going up and up and up or down and down and down, then the change needs to be made that you need to prioritize rest and recovery over exercise, over anything. Otherwise, what's going to happen? You're going to get ill and then you're out of the game. Anyway, I think that is it. If you found that useful, make sure you subscribe to me. I share the same content and advice that I tell my paying clients. So you can see this for free and start implementing it and actually start moving closer to your goal. So make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.